This audiobook is on RA Tale, AI. If you are interested in creating your own audiobook, please check our website at RA Tale, AI. Prologue.
Kazuma Satou, welcome to the great beyond. I'm sorry to tell you that you've passed on. It was a short life, but it's over now.
Those were the first words I heard upon finding myself in that bright white room. It was so sudden, I had no idea what was going on. There was a little desk and a chair, like you'd find in an office, and sitting in the chair was the person notifying me of the end of my life. If there are such things as goddesses, the woman in front of me certainly qualified. She was more than just cute, like the pop stars on TV. No human could match her beauty. She had long hair the translucent blue of the sea on a clear day. It gave her a soft, gentle aura. She looked to be about my age. Her light purple clothes fit perfectly, not too revealing but not hiding anything. She was wearing what we would call a feather dress, divine raiment like the ones in Japan's old stories. This beauty stared at me with eyes the same light blue as her hair, blinking at my inability to understand what had happened. I thought back on the last thing I could remember. Normally, I stay locked in my room, don't even go to school. But today, for once, I left the house. I wanted to get the limited day 1 edition of a popular MMO that was coming out today, so I was up earlier than usual to claim my spot in line. Yeah, I'm what people like to dismiss as a hikikomori, someone so intensely introverted they've withdrawn from society, living a life of isolation and never leaving their room. Others call me an MMA junkie. Whatever. I secured my game and was heading home to try it out, spirits high. Then it happened. A girl was walking ahead of me, playing with her phone. Judging by her uniform, she was enrolled at the same school as me. The traffic light turned green, and she stepped into the crosswalk without even glancing left or right. I saw the shadow loom over her. It had to be a truck, bearing down on her at high speed. I shoved her out of the way before I could think. And then, with a calm that surprised even me, I said quietly to the beautiful woman before me, "Can I just ask one thing?"
Of course.
That girl, the one I pushed out of the way, is she alive? That was important to me. It was the first and last cool thing I'd done in my life. If it turned out I'd been too late, that I hadn't saved her, that would be awful.
Sure, she's got a pretty bad broken leg though.
Thank goodness, that meant my death wasn't in vain. I was able to do something worthwhile with my life, even if only at the very end. The beautiful girl cocked her head questioningly at my look of relief.
Although, if you hadn't pushed her, she wouldn't have been hurt at all.
Huh? Itch? What did she just say?
That tractor would have stopped before hitting her. Obviously, it's a tractor. It doesn't even go that fast. Your dumb heroics were totally uncalled for. Peft! Hee.
She sure knew how to make a good first impression. Not. I guess it would be rude to smack her, but I really want to. Never mind that. There was something more important to ask. What did you say? A tractor? Not a truck?
Yes, that's right. A tractor. You think that girl wouldn't have noticed if some huge truck was coming right at her? She would have gotten out of the way.
Huh? Wait, so I died getting run over by a tractor?
No, you died of shock. You were convinced a truck had hit you, and your body failed. I've been doing this a long time, but you're the first person I've met who died in such a weird way.
I was at a loss for words.
Incidentally, you soiled yourself when you thought you were going to be hit by that tractor. They took you to the nearest hospital, and all the doctors and nurses were like, "What? What a loser!" LL, and you died of a heart attack without even waking you?
I threw my hands over my ears. Stop 3, please. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't need to hear how pathetic it was. She drew close to me and, with a smirk, whispered in my ear,
Your family got to the hospital just this minute, and before they could even grieve, they heard the cause of death and burst out laughing.
Stop. You're making this up, right? No one's ever died in such a pathetic way. She stood above me and giggled as I knelt on the ground, my head in my hands.
All right, I guess I've let off enough steam for today. Nice to meet you, Kazuma Satou. My name is Aqua. I'm a goddess who gives guidance to those in Japan who die young. Now then, regardless of how amusing the circumstances of your demise may be, you have two choices.
This damn woman. All right, forget it. I had to let it go, or we'd never get anywhere.
Option 1. Be reborn as a human, starting a completely new life. And option 2. Live like an old geezer in a heavenly place.
Talk about lose-lose. Hang on, what do you mean heavenly place? And what is living like an old geezer, anyway?
Honestly, heaven isn't as great a place as you humans imagine. The dead don't need to eat, and nothing is ever produced in the afterlife. So even if you wanted to cook something, there'd be no ingredients. Sorry to disappoint you, but heaven's actually a real drag. No TV, no manga, no video games, just a bunch of dead people. And since you're dead, you can't even hook up with anyone. I mean, you don't really have a body, right? It's just you and a bunch of spirits sitting around sunning yourselves and making small talk for all eternity.
What? No paradise? No video games? That's not heaven. That's hell. I could start over as a baby. Hang on. Are those seriously my only choices? I was clearly dejected, but the goddess gave me a huge smile.
You're right. Who wants to go to a boring place like heaven? And being reborn isn't so hot either. You lose all your memories. And isn't that basically the same as saying you, Kazuma Satou, would cease to exist? Well, have I got an offer for you?
I smelled something fishy. She saw I was wary, but Aqua only grinned even wider.
You like video games, right?
And then she proudly laid out her great proposal or whatever. The long and short of it was this. There's another world, different from our own, that is home to someone called the Demon King. The Demon King's invading army threatens that world. It's a place of magic and monsters. In other words, a fantasy setting, pretty much like those found in popular games like Dragon Hunter or Monster Quest.
So, people who die in that world? Well, see, the majority of them were killed by the Demon King, right? And they don't want to go through that again. So most of them refuse to be reborn. That means fewer and fewer babies are getting born there, and eventually the world will be ruined. So we thought, why not send someone who died in some other world off to this threatened one?
I can't imagine the headaches around that immigration policy.
And we figured as long as we're sending someone, it might as well be someone who died young, a blank slate. We'd send them with their body and memory intact. What's more, since it would be silly to send someone over there just to die again, we decided to allow them to bring along any one thing they want. A powerful special ability, an incredible talent. Some people choose a legendary weapon. So how about it? You get another shot at life in a new world, and they get someone battle-ready to come to their aid. What do you think? Not bad, right?
It really wasn't bad. I could feel my excitement ramping up, though. I liked games, sure, but I never thought I'd have the chance to live in a world just like one. But before that, first things first. Just asking, but what about the language in this new world? Can I speak it?
No worries there. Through the kind support of us deities, the language will be loaded into your brain when you go over, allowing you to learn it instantaneously. You'll be able to read it too, of course. There's a slim chance that it would result in an overload that makes you go poof if you're not lucky. So, all that's left is to pick your awesome ability or gear.
Wait. Did you just say I might go poof?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. Even though she was a goddess, I found myself speaking bluntly without any of the anxiety I'd felt until a few minutes ago. I had to admit it was an attractive proposition. True, I was worried I might go poof, but not to brag. My luck had always been my only strong point, so I figured I would be fine. Aqua thrust something like a catalog in front of my face.
Take your pick. Any one thing. I'll give you power second to none. Look, this one's an amazing special ability. Here's a legendary sword. Come on, anything at all. Just say the word, and you can bring it with you to your new home.
I took the catalog from her and thumbed through the pages. It listed everything by name, super strength, Profound magic, the sacred sword Arondite, Miramasa, the demon blade. I got it. They wanted me to pick some power or item from this catalog. Ah, man, how could I ever choose? Maybe it was my gamer's intuition speaking, but everything seemed totally broken. What to pick, what to pick? Well, if there was going to be magic there, then of course I would have to try it. So maybe some power that would involve the use of magic.
Smon, hurry up, will you? It doesn't matter what you pick anyway. No one's expecting anything from some hikikomori video game otaku, so just grab something and get out of here. Come on! We haven't got all eternity.
I'm not an otaku, and I died outdoors, so I'm not a hikikomori either. My reply was quiet, and my voice trembled. Aqua, toying with her hair, answered with complete disinterest.
Look, I don't care. You think you're the only dead guy I've got to ferry to the afterlife today? Pick up the pace.
Aqua leaned back in her chair, not even looking at me as she spoke. She was shoving some little snack in her mouth. This girl. She meets someone for the first time, and what does she do? Make fun of how they died. She thinks she can do whatever she wants just because she's kind of cute. Naturally, her attitude made me pretty ticked off. So she wanted me to hurry up and decide. Fine, I'd decide. Any one thing I wanted to take with me, right? You, then. I pointed at Aqua. Aqua looked at me blankly and put another snack in her mouth.
Okay. Stay inside this magic circle.
Suddenly, she caught herself.
Wait! What did you say?
At that moment,
Your wish is received. Then, Lady Aqua, I shall tend to your duties henceforth.
a winged woman appeared out of nowhere in a bright flash of light. She looked like some kind of angel.
What?
Aqua said stupidly. A blue magic circle appeared at her feet, and at mine. Ooh, cool effects. Were we really headed to another world?
Wait! What? What? You've gotta be kidding me! That wish doesn't count, right? No way it counts! Wait! Why you—
She flailed ineffectually, tears flying from her eyes.
Safe travels, milady. Leave things to me. Whensoever you do defeat the Demon King, I shall send someone to retrieve you. Until then, allow me to attend to your duties.
Wait! Seriously, wait! I'm a goddess! I can heal people, but I don't know how to fight. How am I supposed to defeat the Demon King?
The angel only glanced at the sobbing, prostrate Aqua, then gave me a gentle smile.
Mr. Kazuma Satou, I will now send you to this new world as one of the candidates for the hero who will defeat the Demon King. Whensoever you should do so, you will receive a gift from the gods.
A gift? A gift?
Yes, one commensurate with the worth of a world saved. The gods will grant any one thing you should ask.
Cool. If I ended up getting sick of this new place, I could ask to go back to Japan, for example. If I ended up getting sick of this new place, I could ask to go back to Japan, be filthy rich, and surrounded by beautiful women, and spend the rest of my life playing video games. Just how decadent could a wish get?
Hey, wait! That's a great line, and it's supposed to be mine.
It was Aqua again, bewailing the sudden loss of her job to this angel who had come out of nowhere. Frankly, I was rather pleased to see her like that. I pointed at Aqua. How does it feel to be dragged off to another world by the guy you were just making fun of? You're the one thing I'm bringing along, so you'd better use that goddess power of yours to make my life as cushy as I want.
No, please don't make me go to a new world with a man like this.
Yuro, I pray for your success as the one candidate of many who will bring low the Demon King. Now, hie you hence.
The angel's solemn invocation was disturbed only by Aqua's cry.
No, that's Myodane, too.
Then the still weeping Aqua and I were enveloped in a brilliant light. Chapter the 1st of May, I go to a new world with this self-proclaimed goddess. It's a parallel universe. Look around. We're in an actual other world. Am I really here? Am I really gonna get to learn magic and go adventuring? I took in the scene before me, quivering with excitement. Brick buildings stood eave to eave, like a scene straight from Middle Ages Europe. There were no cars or motorcycles, no utility poles, no cell phone towers. Oh man, Oh, man! Oh, man! Oh, man! Oh, man! My eyes darted everywhere, watching the people passing by. He's got animal ears, real ones. And there's an elf. A real elf. She's gotta be an elf. She's so beautiful. Goodbye, modern-day hermit life. Hello, fantasy world. Now, this is a place where I could see actually going outside, getting a job and stop being a NEET. I looked at Aqua, who was on her knees beside me, head in her hands. Hey, keep it down. What will happen if everyone thinks I'm friends with a crazy lady? Anyway, don't you have something to give me right about now? I mean, look how I'm dressed. I'm wearing a tracksuit. In a fantasy world. If this was a game, I'd at least get some kind of basic starting equipment. The goddess grabbed hold of me as she cried. Whoa, what are you doing? Stop it. I get it. I'll handle the starter gear myself. I mean, I'm sorry. If you hate it that much here, then fine. Go home. I'll manage somehow. My hands brushed Aqua's as I tried to free my neck from her grip. To my surprise, her hands were shaking.
What are you talking about?
She wept, holding her head and dancing back and forth.
I can't go home. That's the problem. What am I gonna do? Ara, come on. What am I supposed to do now?
She shook her waist-length hair, and I realized she would be a real beauty if she just shut up, but as it was, she came across as a diva. Frankly, I could barely bring myself to look at her. Hey, goddess, calm down. At times like this, you have to find the tavern. Start there, gather information. That's how role-playing games work.
What? I thought you were supposed to be some shut-in video game otaku. When did you get so reliable? By the way, Kazuma, my name is Aqua. It's sweet of you to call me goddess, but you should probably use my name while we're here. If people knew who I really am, we might attract a crowd, and then how would we get to the Demon King? This may be a different world, but I am actually worshipped here.
With that, Aqua pattered along behind me. I, for my part, was feeling quite confident. Now there had to be a group of adventurers resisting the Demon King, or an adventurers guild that handled fighting monsters, or something. Actually, come to think of it, Aqua's a goddess. Why not ask her? Aqua, how about an adventurers guild? Know where it is? I said, but she just stared at me blankly.
Sorry? I'm sure I don't know. I know only the most basic things about this world, not every little detail of its towns. Think about it. This is just one world among millions, and this town is just one insignificant settlement out of all the towns in this world. Why should I know anything about it?
This girl is totally useless. The conversation wasn't getting us anywhere, so I stopped a middle-aged woman on the street. It was better than asking a guy, who might have turned out to be trouble, or asking a young girl. My anxiety would have driven the difficulty of that quest through the roof. Excuse me, ma'am. May I ask you something? Is there anything like an adventurers guild around?
A guild? You mean you don't know? You must be new here.
I relaxed at her words, knowing there had to be a guild here somewhere. Yes, ma'am. We've come from quite a ways off. We just arrived a little while ago.
Oh my. If you have come to this town, you must be looking to become adventurers. Welcome to Axel, the town for novice adventurers. If you follow that street and turn right, you'll see a sign.
Straight, then right. Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay, we're off. The town for novice adventurers, huh? A starter town, the ideal starting point for new, freshly dead arrivals from some other world. After thanking the woman and heading down the road she'd pointed out, I could feel Aqua looking at me with new respect as she darted along behind me.
Hey, how'd you come up with that story on the spot? You actually seem quite capable. So then why were you a hermit of an otaku who'd never had a girlfriend or really any friends at all? Why spend your days as a hickenite?
Not having friends or a girlfriend isn't necessarily a bad thing. You can't judge a person's worth by how many friends they have or if they're in a relationship. And don't call me a hikineet, you dumb bimbo. Don't assume all hikikomori are neets. I was just 16. That's too young for society to assume I'll be a member of the workforce. Ah, there it is. Aqua made to strangle me at the words dumb bimbo, but I ignored her and went into the Adventurers Guild. Adventurers Guild. You'll find an Adventurers Guild in every video game. It's an organization that helps adventurers find work or otherwise supports them. It's basically a fantasy world version of Hello Work, that government employment service. The guild was housed in a fairly large building, and the smell of food drifted from within. There was a rough lot inside, no doubt. People who might not think twice about jumping some newcomers. I steeled myself for conflict as I entered, and was greeted by a waitress with short red hair, who said sweetly,
Kong. Oh, welcome. If you're looking for work, go to the counter inside. If you're here for a meal, please take any open seat.
The dim interior looked to be home to a tavern. People in armor wandered here and there, but no one seemed especially out to cause trouble. We did seem to be getting a lot of attention, though. At first, I thought maybe they didn't get many newcomers here. Then it dawned on me.
Hey! I don't like the way they're looking at me. I know. It's the goddess aura I exude. They figured out who I really am.
Everyone was checking out the goddess who stood beside me, spewing inanities. It made sense that she would attract attention. After all, she would be really beautiful if she could keep her mouth shut. I decided to ignore the stares and pursue my original objective. Listen, Aqua, once we register, the guild will give us some tutorials, teaching us how to survive as new adventurers. They should lend us enough money to go on an adventure and get us work that'll keep food on the table, even though we're just starting out. Maybe they'll let us know where the best inns are. Most games start this way. Normally, I'd say it was your job to make sure we had the basic necessities for life in this world. But, never mind. Today, let's just get registered, make sure we've got enough money for starter equipment, and find somewhere to sleep.
I don't know what you're talking about. My job is to send dead people to this world. But fine, I don't know anything about video games. But I take it this is how you get started in this kind of world. I just have to register as an adventurer, right?
That's right, let's go. I pulled Aqua along toward the counter. There were 4 receptionists, 2 were women. I went to the prettier of the 2.
Hey, we could have gone to any of the other 3 and not had to wait in line. Why'd you pick this one? Wait, I get it. It's because she's the prettiest, isn't it? Sheesh, just when I think maybe I can count on you for something.
She doesn't know anything. Lesson 1, be on good terms with the girl at the guild. Lesson 2, the pretty ones always have a backstory. There's gotta be an event flag waiting. Someday we'll find out that girl used to be a renowned hunter or something.
Come to think of it, I've seen that sort of thing in comic books too. Sorry, I'll just stand in line here.
The receptionists at the open windows all glared at us for deliberately lining up at this one, but I ignored them. Finally, it was our turn.
Hello, how can I help you today?
The receptionist seemed very gentle and was certainly very beautiful. Her wavy hair and generous bosom gave her a mature look. We'd like to become adventurers, but we just got here from the countryside and don't have any idea what to do. If I dropped in a bit about being from the sticks or some other land, the receptionist would presumably take the initiative to tell us what we needed to know.
I see. Well, a registration fee is required. Will that be all right?
There you go, a tutorial just like that. Now we just had to do what she'd told us, and registration fee? Hey, Aqua, you got any cash?
What do you think? As if I had time to grab my wallet when you dragged me off here.
What were we going to do? Maybe we could get a loan for starters, or postpone the fee. Aqua and I stepped away from the window to plan our strategy. What are we gonna do now? We've been at this for 5 minutes, and we've already hit a roadblock. In a game, you usually just start with some basic equipment, or at least a little money.
Gosh, what happened to that manly confidence you had a few minutes ago? Oh well, I guess it can't be helped. You are a hikikomori. Fine, my turn. You just watch. I'll show you what it means to be a goddess.
A man was sitting nearby in what seemed to be priest's vestments, ratty and worn, though they were. Aqua boldly strode up to him.
You priest, state your denomination. I am Aqua. Yes, Aqua, she who is venerated by the Church of Axis. If you be among my followers, it would really help if you could lend me some money.
I couldn't tell if she was commanding or begging.
I'm afraid I'm of the Eris sect.
Oh, is that so? Sorry to bother you then.
I guess he wasn't one of her followers. Aqua turned dejectedly and made to leave, but the priest called out to her.
Oh, miss, you're a follower of the Axis sect. In the old stories, the goddesses Aqua and Eris were said to be senior and junior to each other. It must be fate that brought you to me. I saw you didn't have enough money to pay the registration fee. Here, let me give you enough for that. Call it Eris's blessing. But, miss, however devoted a follower you may be, you shouldn't call yourself a goddess.
Oh, right. Sorry, thank you very much.
Aqua took the money and came back, wearing a look that reminded me of a dead fish.
Ha ha! He didn't even believe I was a goddess. You know, Ares is my junior. I got money because the follower of an under-goddess of mine took pity on me.
Well, hey, all's well that ends well, right? It would have been a problem if he had believed you, wouldn't it? Aqua looked like she'd lost something important, and I wanted to say something encouraging. Ma'am, we've got the registration fee.
Huh. That will be 1,000 eris each, please.
The priest had given Aqua 3,000 eris. According to Aqua, 1 eris was roughly equal to 1 yen, so he'd basically given her 3,000 yen. The girl at the window hadn't said anything about our little display with the priest. In fact, she seemed to hardly want to look at us. So much for lesson 1.
Now, you've said you want to become adventurers, so I assume you have some idea of what's involved. But just in case, please allow me to explain. First of all, adventurers are those who fight the monsters. That is, creatures who do harm to people. Outside town, however, they are also jacks of all trades. Adventurer is simply a generic term for those who have accepted this life as their vocation. Each one also has an occupation.
There it was. Finally, this was what defined an adventurer. Call it an occupation, a job, a class. This was where we got to choose our fighting style. Forget being some run-of-the-mill warrior. A good, flashy spellcaster class was in my future. The receptionist set a card in front of me and another in front of Aqua. It was about the size of a driver's license, presumably some kind of identification.
You see the line marked level? As you know, every creature in this world has a soul within it. Whenever we eat or kill, or otherwise end the life of another living thing, we absorb some portion of its memories. The memories we absorb are widely known as experience points. Typically, you can't see them. However,
She pointed to another part of the card.
this section will show an adventurer how many experience points he or she has gained. The corresponding level will be shown too. So the card's a guidepost to an adventurer's strength, and also indicates how many monsters he or she has defeated. Any living thing, once it gains enough experience, will suddenly and dramatically grow in its abilities. People often describe this as reaching a new plateau, or, in a word, leveling up. At any rate, when your level goes up, you gain points, which you can spend on new skills, as well as a variety of other benefits. So make sure to work hard and raise your level.
That reminded me of what Aqua had said. You like video games, right? Now it made sense. Everything the girl just explained was straight out of an RPG.
I'd like you both to fill out this form. Please give your height, weight, age, and distinctive physical features.
I began to write on the form she handed me. Height, 5'4", weight, 120 pounds, 16 years old, brown hair, brown eyes.
All right, thank you. Now, each of you, Please touch these cards. They will show your stats so you can pick a class that matches your abilities. Based on that class, you may also be able to learn specialized skills at higher levels, so consider that when deciding on your occupation.
Ooh, that was quick. This was where my incredible latent abilities would become evident. No doubt the entire guild hall would be in an uproar. I touched the card with a mixture of trepidation and excitement.
All right, thank you. Mr. Kazuma Satou, is that right? Let's see. Strength, vitality, magic, agility, all average. Your intelligence is on the high side. Huh? Your luck is extremely high. Though luck is extremely high. Though luck isn't a very useful stat for adventurers. I'm afraid, what should we do? With these stats, you can't actually specialize. You'll have to choose the basic adventurer class. With your luck, I might even recommend you give up adventuring and become a merchant instead. Would you like to do that?
Wait, did I just get rejected as an adventurer? What's this about? It was all I could do not to smack the snickering goddess beside me. If I was weak, it would be as much a problem for her as for me. Fine, just adventurer then, please.
Well, as your level goes up, your stats will improve, and you can eventually change jobs. And notice how the adventurer class shares its name with the word that refers to everyone who goes on adventures. It's a sort of general occupation. Just because it's a starter class doesn't mean it's bad. People with the adventurer job can learn and use skills from any class.
The trade-off is that skills take tons of points to learn, and you can't expect them to be anywhere near as effective as when someone of the proper class uses them. Jack of all trades, master of none.
Leave it to Aqua to rain on my parade. I wondered if I could just lose her somewhere. Anyway, starter class or general occupation. It looked like I was stuck as an adventurer. The weakest class of all, but it didn't matter. The weakest adventurer was still an adventurer, and I was just as poised to take on a world out of my video games. It was with no small stirring of my heart that I took the card with my name and the word adventurer.
Way! Where did these numbers come from? Besides your below-average intelligence and your abysmal luck, all your stats are vastly above average. Your magic is the most amazing of all. Who or what are you, Madame?
The receptionist could barely contain herself as she looked at Aqua's card, the building filled with excited murmurs. Wait, wasn't that supposed to happen for me?
Oh, really? So I'm amazing or something? Well, I guess I am me after all.
She might be obnoxious, but she was still a goddess. Even so, it was hard not to hate her as she grew more and more pleased with her stats.
Amazing doesn't begin to cover it. You can't pick the wizard class, which requires high intelligence, but you can be anything else at all. You could be a crusader, a knight famed for impenetrable defense, or you could be a sword master with unparalleled attack power. You could be an archpriest, the most advanced of the priest classes. You can start in some of the most advanced occupations available.
Aqua seemed to mull that over.
I see. It's just a shame goddess isn't a class. Well, maybe archpriest would be right for me then.
Archpriest it is. A very versatile class, with all types of healing and support spells, but also strong enough to stand fearlessly at the front line. Let's see, Archpriest. There. Welcome to the Adventurers Guild, Honored Aqua. I and the entire staff look forward to your future exploits.
The girl at the desk had a huge smile on her face. What is going on here? Seriously, am I the main character or not? Well, never mind. And this was how my life as an adventurer in a new world began.
All right, good work, everyone. That's it for today. Here, come and get your pay.
Thank you, sir. Another good day of work, sir.
Woo! Work!
At the foreman's announcement of the end of the workday, Aqua and I each offered a word of thanks and a bow of the head. Okay, everyone, see you tomorrow.
Woo! Tomorrow.
Aqua echoed as I said goodbye to the other workers.
Right, good work. And tomorrow's another day.
With the others' voices still in our ears, Aqua and I walked off the site. Phew! Another day's work finished. Even I could hardly believe I was once a hikikomori. Aqua and I headed for the town's largest public bath, clutching our day's wages. The baths here were more or less the same as the ones in Japan. The entry fee was maybe a bit higher compared to the average wage, but a hot bath after a long day of work was something I couldn't let fall by the wayside, even if it was a little expensive. Ah, yeah, that's the stuff. I sank into the steaming bath up to my shoulders, letting the water wash away the day's fatigue. This world looked a bit like the Middle Ages, and I'd always assumed baths would be a luxury in a fantasy world, but apparently I'd been wrong. And thank goodness, Aqua left the bath and waited for me at the entrance. I guess it's not very chivalrous to make a woman wait while you finish soaking. But then again, maybe that's just a bath-loving Japanese person for you.
What do you want to eat today? I want a smoked lizard burger and a nice cold crimson neroid.
Yeah, I'd like some meat too. Well, how about we get the guy at the inn to whip us up a couple of his smoked lizard hamburger combo meals?
No objections.
Aqua and I wolfed down our meals, and then, with nothing special to do, we went back to the stable we were staying at. I picked the hay that smelled the least like horse poop to make my bed and lay right down. Aqua was curled up nearby as though it were the most natural thing in the world. K. Guide.
Night. Man, we really did some work today.
And so I began to drift off into a deep, satisfied, slow. Wait, hold on a minute. I bolted upright.
What's wrong? Did you forget to use the toilet before bed? It's dark outside. Want me to go with you?
No, that's not it. Why are we doing manual labor every day? Yes, Aqua and I had spent every day of the last 2 weeks working on an expansion to the town wall, i.e., doing construction work. This was a far cry from the adventuring I'd expected when I came here. Come to think of it, how had Aqua adapted so uncomplainingly to this life? She's a goddess, isn't she?
Well, it's 'cause if you want to eat, you have to work. Don't you like construction? Sheesh! This is why you're a hikineat. You could hawk goods in the shopping district if you'd rather.
That's not the point. I came here for heart-pounding battles with monsters, okay? I thought the Demon King's invasion was threatening this place, but you couldn't find a more peaceful world. There's no demons, there's hardly any kings. What did we come here for? Our voices got louder as our tempers flared, until we heard shouts nearby.
Hey, you! Shut up! People are trying to sleep.
Oh, sorry, so sorry. Novice adventurers are poor, okay? They don't have the money for a room at the inn every night. Usually they pool their resources with other adventurers and sleep in one big dormitory-style room. But right now, all we could afford to rent was a haystack in the stables. Yeah, definitely not living up to how I'd envisioned the adventuring life in a fantasy world. Staying at the inn was sort of like if you slept in a hotel every night back in Japan. Not a lifestyle for those without a steady income, like us, for example. Video games normally feature some simple starter quests, like harvesting herbs or hunting some monsters near town. No such thing here. Plus, monsters don't just spew money when you defeat them either. The monsters that lived in the forest near town had been wiped out long ago. And who'd pay money for someone to gather herbs in a perfectly peaceful forest? No one, obviously. Even children left the town's walls with impunity. There was a guard at the gate, sure, but not the kind who locks everything down so tight an ant could hardly get in. The forest wasn't big enough to be that worrisome. If anything dangerous showed up, the people just went out and got rid of it. I guess it made sense when you thought about it, but it was all a bit too real-worldy for my liking. In a game, a fresh-faced adventurer could go out in the woods, spend half a day picking easily distinguishable plants and herbs, and make enough money to pay for 3 square meals and a soft bed too. But when in real life has there ever been such easy money? Think about it. Even in a rich country like Japan, have you ever met a laborer who spends every day of his life in a decent hotel? Minimum wage? Labor laws? What are those? Are they tasty? Welcome to your RPG fantasy.
I know all that. This is the farthest town from the Demon King's castle. He'd never bother attacking all the way out here, especially a town with nothing but greenhorns. So, Kazuma, you're telling me you want to go on a real adventure before you've even gotten any gear together?
In the face of Aqua's blunt analysis, there was nothing I could say. It was true. Aqua and I lacked even the most basic provisions for adventuring. We'd taken our nice, safe construction jobs in hopes of saving up enough to buy some equipment. I'm getting pretty tired of construction. I didn't come all the way to a land of swords and sorcery just to work with my hands. I came here to adventure, no computers or game consoles needed. I was sent here to drive out the Demon King. Wasn't I? For a moment, Aqua looked at me as though she couldn't understand what I was talking about. Then she exclaimed,
Oh, that's right. We did mean to do something like that, didn't we? I got so caught up in the joy of work that I completely forgot. But if you don't take out the Demon King, I can't go home. Can I?
I was a bit taken aback by her words, until I recalled the receptionist's remark that Aqua's intelligence stat was below average.
Fine. Let's go take him out. You've got me with you, so we'll be fine. You can count on me.
I've got a bad feeling about this, but I guess you are a goddess. All right, it's up to you. Tomorrow we'll get the cheapest equipment we can find, and then start working on our levels.
Just leave it to me.
I thought I told you to shut up. Don't make me come over there.
Sorry, pardon us? Even as we apologized to the other adventurer, my heart was dancing in my chest, and soon I was asleep. There wasn't a cloud in the bright blue sky. Ah, help me! Aqua, help me!
Fucked. Hee. This is great! Kazuma, your face is so red. The tears, the desperation. I love it.
Right. I'll bury her in the ground on my way home. Even as I plotted to leave Aqua in the dirt, I ran around screaming for her help as the giant toad, a massive frog-like monster, chased me. We were in the vast fields surrounding the town. This was where grabbing a quest at the guild had gotten us. I had a short sword, the most minimal of weaponry. Aqua, for her part, had said some dumb thing about how a goddess waving a sword just wouldn't look right, and so she was currently without any weapon at all. Instead, she gaily watched the toad chase me around. I guess you can't underestimate your enemy, even when he's a frog. These frogs, toads, were bigger than cows. During mating season, they needed strength to lay their eggs and so would migrate to human towns, where there was plenty of food, as in the local farmers' goats, which the toads would swallow whole. Since Aqua and I hardly weighed more than a couple of goats ourselves, we were both pretty concerned by this revelation. As a matter of fact, it turned out that every year, around giant toad mating season, a number of farmers and even children would go missing from the town. On the outside, these monsters looked just like huge frogs, but they were far more dangerous than the weaklings that had been cleared out of the area so long ago. Incidentally, their meat, while a little tough, was light and mild tasting, and was considered a delicacy. We'd heard that their thick layer of fat protected them from physical attacks. Then again, we'd also heard that because giant toads hate metal, if you wore even just a tiny bit of armor, you could avoid being eaten, so they weren't so hard to deal with after all. That's why experienced adventurers enjoyed hunting them. We, however... Aqua, don't just stand there laughing. Help me.
Maybe you could start by showing me a bit of respect.
Lady Aqua. I'd get her later, bury her up to her neck and leave her there so she knew how scary it was to be at the mercy of a giant toad. Nearly in tears, I glanced back at the creature pursuing me, but it had turned away from me. It was looking at...
Well, all right. I guess I have to help you out then. You hawk and eat. In return, I expect you to worship me starting tomorrow. When we get back to town, you have to join the Axis Church and pray to me 3 times a day. At meals, if I ask for something on your plate, you have to give it to me without complaint. And, Roo!
Aqua and all her self-aggrandizing suddenly vanished. The giant toad that had been chasing me had stopped moving. From one corner of its mouth, something blue was sprouting. It was... Aqua. Hey, don't you dare get eaten! Aqua's leg hung out the side of the frog's mouth, shaking. I drew my short sword and leaped at the giant toad.
Sniffle. Wah. Sniff.
Aqua squatted on the ground in front of me, hugging her knees. She was dripping with slime. Next to her lay the giant toad, its head split open.
Sniff. Thank you, Kazuma. Thank you. Wah.
She hadn't stopped crying since I'd pulled her from the toad's mouth. I guess even goddesses don't like being eaten. Aye, it's all right, Aqua. Take it easy. Hey, let's go home for today. The quest was to kill 5 toads in 3 days, but we're obviously in over our heads. let's get some more gear first. I mean, I've got a short sword and a tracksuit. I'd at least like to look like an adventurer. I'd been able to kill the toad that swallowed Aqua mainly because giant toads stop moving when they swallow their prey. I never would have had the guts to go up against a toad that was happily hopping toward me to attack. But Aqua, her whole body covered in gleaming toad mucus, rose to her feet.
Sniff, how can a goddess just allow herself to be brought down to this level by some frog? I've been defiled. If one of my followers saw me now, they'd lose all faith in me. If it got out that I'd been laid low by a frog, the reputation of the beautiful and awesome Aqua would be for naught.
She sweat every day as she lugged around construction loads, thrilled to be able to carry more than a bunch of middle-aged men. She looked forward to nothing more than dinner after a good bath. Every night, she slept next to me on a hay bale, drool dribbling down her chin. But cover her in a little frog slime, and now she worried about appearances? Before I could stop her, Aqua dashed off toward another giant toad in the distance. Whoa, hey, wait, Aqua! She ignored me, closing the gap between her and the monster. With all the energy that propelled her, her fist began to emit a white light, and she slammed it into the toad's belly.
Know the power of the gods. You shouldn't have stood against me and bared your fangs against us. But you'll have time to regret that in hell. God strike!
I recalled hearing from a guild employee that physical attacks weren't all that effective against giant toads. Aqua's fist sank into the monster's soft stomach with a glug, and the toad casually looked down at her. Aqua met his eyes.
You know, now that I see you up close, I realize how cute giant toads really are.
For the second time that day, I set upon a monster immobilized while eating its meal, and for the second time, I rescued a sobbing, slime-covered goddess. We decided to call it a day. The problem is, the two of us alone are totally outmatched. We need some allies. When we got back to town, we'd gone directly to the bathhouse. Then we'd headed to the Adventurers Guild, where we were eating fried frog legs and holding a war council. The guild hall functioned as both an adventurers' meeting place and a recreation facility. You could buy and sell monster parts, and a large tavern served up monster-based dishes. We'd gotten 2 frogs' worth of meat today, which we sold to the guild for some pocket change. We could hardly carry back those carcasses ourselves. But the guild offered a transport service for a price. Minus the transport fee, we earned 5,000 eris for each frog. All told, it was barely more than we'd been making in construction. Then again, the fried frog, while a little tough, was way better than I'd expected. When I first got to this world, I'd been loath to eat things like lizards or frogs, but it turned out they were pretty good in a combo meal. The goddess sitting across from me, though, didn't need any encouragement to eat everything that was put in front of her.
Sure, but we're brand new adventurers who don't even have any decent gear. Haha, what kind of allies would join our party?
Aqua waved her fork back and forth, her mouth full of frog leg.
Don't worry about it. I'm the one who will be recruiting.
Swallow first, then talk. She gulped down her mouthful of food.
I'm here. When word gets out we want party members, they'll come. I am an archpriest, you know, an advanced class. I can use all kinds of healing magic. I can cure paralysis and poisoning, even revive the dead. What party wouldn't want me? I might not have anywhere near my full power, thanks to you dragging me down to the mortal realm. But I'm the great Aqua, aren't I? Pretty soon, they'll be knocking at our door. Please let us join you, they'll say. Get it? Now pass me another fried frog leg.
With that, she grabbed a leg off my plate, and I looked at this self-proclaimed goddess with a sinking feeling. At the Adventurers Guild the next day.
Where are they?
We'd posted a notice that we were seeking party members and then set up shop at a table in a far corner of the guild hall. But so far we'd been sitting here for more than half the day, and not one candidate for future hero had shown up. Maybe no one had seen our posting. There were lots of other adventurers looking for party members. But they seemed to have one interview after another, and then, after a friendly chat, would go off somewhere with their new ally. I knew why no one was coming to our table. Maybe we need to lower our standards a little. I get that we're trying to defeat the Demon King here, but the part that says, Only those of advanced classes need apply, is probably putting people off.
Huh? But,
The class system in this fantasy world included what were called advanced classes. Aqua's class, Archpriest, was an example. It was a stage normal people would never reach, heroes of legend, if you will. And obviously, most everyone with that kind of talent had already found parties. Aqua was probably just looking to get the most powerful people we could to help us take on the Demon King. But at this rate, no one's going to show up. Anyway, you might be an advanced class, but I have the lowest job there is. How can I hold my head up if my entire party's full of elite characters? Let's cast a wider net, please. As I spoke, I made to stand up. But then,
I saw the notice seeking adventurers of advanced classes. Is this the right place?
I met a red eye that looked oddly languid, almost sleepy, full black hair that just barely reached the shoulders. The girl who'd spoken to us was the very image of a spellcaster. Black mantle and black robe, black boots, a staff, even a pointy hat. She had doll-like features, one of those Lolita types. I knew it wasn't unusual in this world for children to work, but this girl couldn't have been more than 12 or 13. She was short and wore a patch over one eye, and suddenly she threw back her mantle and declared,
I am Megami. I am of the occupation Archwizard, one who wields the most powerful of all offensive magics, Explosion.
"Are you messing with us?"
I am not.
She didn't seem to expect me to dismiss her self-introduction. And what was with that name anyway?
That red eye. Are you one of the Crimson Magic Clan?
The girl nodded at Aqua's question and passed her adventurer's card to Aqua.
Indeed I am. I am Megumin, first among the spellcasters of the Crimson Magic Clan. My ultimate magic can level mountains and shatter stone. You don't happen to need an exceptional magic user, do you? And if you will pardon my asking, could you give me something to eat before we start the interview? I haven't had a bite to eat in 3 days.
She looked at us pleadingly. At the same moment, her stomach gave a loud gurgle. I don't mind treating you, but what's with the eye patch? If you're injured, Aqua here can fix you up.
Heh, this is a magic item that restrains my incredible power. If I removed it, why, then a great calamity would come upon this world. Wow, really? So it's like some kind of seal? Oh, no, I made all that up just now. I just think it looks cool. Ow, I'm sorry. Stop, please don't pull on it. All right, let me fill in Kazuma.
Aqua said as I tugged on Megumin's eye patch.
These kids, the Crimson Magic Clan, are born with exceptionally high intelligence and magic, making it easy for them to become expert spellcasters. They're distinguished by their red eyes, which give them their name and, well, their weird personal names.
Huh, I thought she was just teasing me about the eye patch and the name. I let the patch go, and Megumin collected herself.
Weird names indeed. From my perspective, it is everyone else in town who has a weird name.
Out of curiosity, what were your parents' names?
My mother is Yui. My father, Hayo Izaburo.
Aqua and I looked at her in silence. Well, anyway, you said this kid's people turn out a lot of great magic users. How about we take her then?
Hey, if you have something to say about my parents' names, let us hear it.
Megumin shoved her face up close to mine. Aqua quickly returned her adventurer's card.
Why not? You can't forge an adventurer's card, and this girl's definitely an archwizard, an advanced class capable of powerful offensive magic. If she really can use explosion, that would be a big deal. That's supposed to be among the most difficult magic to master. Hey, you do not have to call me this girl all the time. Use my name.
I passed her a menu. Calm down and order something. I'm Kazuma. This is Aqua. Pleasure to meet you, Archwizard. Megumin looked like she was about to say something, then silently took the menu.
Explosion is the most powerful of magics, but it takes time to prepare in proportion to its power. I will need you to hold that toad at bay until I am ready.
Aqua, the now sated Megumin, and I had come to get some revenge on the giant toads. We could see one of them far off across the field. It had noticed us and was coming closer. But we could also see other toads approaching from the opposite direction. Use your magic to target the one that's farther away. As for the closer ones, well, here we go, Aqua. Time to get our payback. You keep telling me you used to be why don't you show me what you can do?
What do you mean, used to be? It's present tense. I am a goddess. I'm just an archpriest for now.
Megumin gave the self-proclaimed goddess a strange look as Aqua strangled me with tears flying from her eyes.
Goddess?
I is what she calls herself, poor kid. Sometimes she just lets it slip, you know? Don't pay her any attention. As I spoke, Megumin looked sympathetically at Aqua. The tearful Aqua made a fist and lunged desperately at the nearest frog.
Whatever. I know giant toads are supposed to be resistant to physical attacks, but this time I'm going to show you what a goddess can do. Just you watch, Kazuma. I didn't get my glory last time, but today...
With that, Aqua, who seemed to have learned nothing from her previous foray into a frog's digestive system, ceased to move and stalled the giant toad in her own way. Only a true goddess would sacrifice herself to buy her allies some time. That was when the air around Megumin began to tremble. Even I, who didn't know the first thing about magic, could see that what Megumin was cooking up was serious stuff. Her voice grew louder as she chanted the incantation, and a single bead of sweat rolled down her forehead.
Behold, the most powerful magic known to mankind. This is truly the ultimate attack magic.
The end of Megumin's staff began to glow. The vast light condensed until it was tiny but piercingly bright. Megumin's red eye glowed as she opened it wide.
Explosion!
A single beam of light flew across the field. It raced from the end of her staff and enveloped the frog that was coming in our direction. I planted my feet and covered my eyes against a shock wave that threatened to send me flying. When the smoke cleared, a 20-meter-wide crater lay where the creature had been, speaking to the awesomeness of the blast. Incredible. So, this is magic. At that moment, while I was admiring Megumin's spell, a giant toad, perhaps awakened by the sound and the shock wave, crawled up from under the ground. I'd been wondering how the toads survived in an area without rainfall or a major water source, but I'd never thought they might do it by living underground. The toad was crawling out near Megumin but moving very slowly. I just had to get her back far enough to prepare another explosion. Megumin, let's fall back, then we can hit them a guy. That was as far as I got before I saw Megumin and stopped in my tracks. She had collapsed.
My magic is utterly powerful. But it takes strength equal to its power. I've overexerted myself and will not be moving for a while. Oh, who could have known a toad would appear right near me? This is trouble. I shall be eaten. Please help. Meh.
I finished off the two toads Megumin and Aqua had immobilized. And so it was that we did actually kill 5 giant toads in 3 days. Quest successful.
Sniffle, sniffle, it stinks. My clothes stain.
A whimpering, slime-covered Aqua trudged behind me.
The inside of a giant toad smells bad, but it's rather cozy and warm. Add that to the list of things I never really wanted to know firsthand.
The equally slime-covered Megumin was perched on my back, offering up facts I myself didn't really want to know. It turns out that when a spellcaster uses a spell that goes beyond the limits of her MP, she makes up the difference out of her HP. Use a major spell when your mana is running low, and it could even put your life at risk. Save your explosions for emergencies from now on, Megumin. You should stick to smaller stuff most of the time. I felt her hand resting on my shoulder clench.
I can't.
Huh? You can't what? She gripped my shoulder even harder. I felt her small chest pressing against my back.
I can't use anything but explosion. I'm completely incapable of casting any other spells.
You are kidding.
No, I am not.
Megumin and I fell silent. Aqua, who'd been quietly sniffling in the background the whole time, finally saw fit to enter the conversation.
What do you mean you can't use anything but explosion? If you have enough skill points for that, surely you have enough to learn other spells too?
Skill points? Oh yeah. The girl at the guild had said something about points being connected to learning skills. Aqua saw my expression and explained,
You get skill points when you choose a class and you use them to learn abilities. The better you are, the more points you start with, and you can allocate them to various skills. For example, I am very exceptional, so I started by learning all the party trick skills and then all the magic appropriate to an archpriest.
What are party trick skills for? Aqua ignored my question.
The types of skills a person can learn are limited by their class and personality. For example, someone who hates water would have to spend more points to learn ice or water-related skills, or, in a worst-case scenario, might not be able to learn them at all. Explosive magics are part of the category called multi-type magic because they rely on a deep knowledge of both fire and air magic, among others. Someone who can learn a spell from the explosive magics should have no problem learning other elemental magic.
In other words, there's no reason you should be able to use an advanced spell like explosion and not easier spells. I paused. So, when and where does one use party trick skills? From my back, Megumin whispered.
I am an archwizard who adores explosion above all else. I do not care for all the explosive magics. Explosion is my only love.
I was starting to wonder what made explosion different from any other explosive magics. I had no idea, but Aqua seemed to be taking Megumin's declaration of uniqueness quite seriously. Actually, you know what? The thing about party trick skills bugged me even more than the semantics of magically blowing stuff up.
Of course, it might be easier for me to go adventuring if I took other skills. Even abilities in the basic elements of fire, water, earth, and air would help me, but I cannot. I love only explosion, even if with my present MP, I can cast it only once a day. Even if I collapse after casting it, it does not matter. I love only explosion. Indeed, I chose the path of the Archwizard merely and solely so I could cast that one spell. Incredible! Just wonderful! When I see you pursuing something so utterly impractical, and yet so romantic, I am moved to tears.
Well, this was no good. Looked like this mage had decided to specialize in being useless. The ultimate proof was that Aqua sympathized with her. Our recent battles with the giant toads had left me doubting whether this goddess was going to be any help to me at all. To be blunt, Aqua was a liability all by herself. To take on another problem child, all right, I'd made up my mind. Wow, is that so? Well, it won't be an easy road, but stay strong. Oh hey, there's the town. When we get to the guild, let's split the reward 3 ways. And then, who knows? Maybe we'll meet again someday. As I spoke, Megumin's grip on my shoulder tightened.
My one desire is to let off explosion. Any reward is merely a bonus. I do not need an equal share. Give me enough for a meal and a bath and some necessities, and I will ask nothing further. Yes, you can have me, an archwizard, for hardly more than the price of a meal. Could you do anything other than take me on long-term under such conditions?
Oh, we couldn't. Such phenomenal power would be wasted on a small fry party like ours. Pearls before swine, you know? A regular spellcaster would be plenty for a couple of novices like us. Look at me. I'm the lowest possible class. As I spoke, I tried desperately to loosen Megumin's grip on my shoulder so I could send her on her way as soon as we reached the guild hall. Megumin tried desperately to hold on.
Not at all. I don't mind in the least if this is a weak or inexperienced party. I may belong to an advanced class, but I am a novice myself. I am only level 6. I am sure that with a few more levels, I will stop collapsing every time I cast a spell. All right? So please, stop trying to pull my hand away.
No. A spellcaster who can cast only 1 spell per day? That's hardly user-friendly. Ooh, who'd have thought a mage could have such a strong grip? Hey, Lego, You've probably been kicked out of other parties too, haven't you? Think about it. If we go into a dungeon, you won't be able to use your explosion in a confined space like that. You won't be able to help us at all. Hey, let go already. Don't worry, we'll give you the reward from this quest. Now, let go.
Please don't abandon me. No other party will take me. When we go into a dungeon, I can carry your bags for you. I'll do anything. I'm begging you, please don't leave me.
Maybe it was the girl on my back shouting, "Please don't abandon me," at the top of her lungs that attracted the looks and whispers of passers-by. By now, we were already in town. Usually just Aqua alone was enough to gather a crowd, so we must have really stood out.
Oh my goodness, that man is going to abandon that poor girl. What's all over that woman next to him? Is that slime? He made such a young girl his plaything, and now he's just going to throw her away. Disgusting. Look, both those girls are slimy. What kind of sick games was that perv playing with them?
I seemed to be the subject of a major misunderstanding. I hated the way Aqua smirked when she heard those comments, and then it turned out Megumin had picked up on them too. As I looked over my shoulder at her, her mouth twisted, then opened.
I play whatever games you want. I'll even put up with the slime play you showed me with those giant toads earlier.
All right, enough. Welcome aboard, Megumin.
All right, I see you killed 5 giant toads within 3 days, as requested. The completion of your quest is confirmed. Good work, everyone.
I made our report to the receptionist at the Adventurers Guild and received the posted reward. Aqua and Megumin both stank of toad slime and might have caused more untoward misconceptions to boot, so I'd sent them off to the public bath. I had been a little concerned about proving we'd killed all 5 toads, since one of them had been vaporized by a magical explosion, but it turned out my adventurer's card indicated how many monsters I'd killed, and of what type. I presented my card to the receptionist along with Megumin's, and the girl simply used a strange box on the counter to check them. It was true that magic rather than science had been the focus of development in this world, but there was still some pretty amazing technology here. When I looked at my card again, it said, Adventurer Level 4. I'd heard giant toads were an easy way for beginning adventurers to raise their level. I'd taken out 4 of them all by myself, and it had been enough to get me to level 4. Then again, the lower your level, the quicker it went up. The stats on my card had risen a bit, but I didn't feel like I had gotten especially stronger. I found myself muttering, "So you really do get better just by defeating a few monsters." Back when she'd first introduced us to adventuring, the girl at the counter had told us that everything in this world had a soul. That whenever you eat something or kill something, whenever you put an end to the life of another living thing, you absorb some of that thing's memories. I guess that really is a lot like a video game. When I looked more closely at my card, I found the words SKEL points. Along with the number 3, I could use those points to gain some abilities.
Now then, we're buying 2 giant toads from you, along with the quest completion award that comes to 110,000 Eris.
110,000. Minus the cost of transport, each of those frogs was worth 5,000 yen. The reward for actually completing the quest was another 100,000. This audiobook is on Our Tale AI. If you are interested in creating your own audiobook, please check our website at Our Tale AI. According to Aqua, most parties had 4 to 6 people when they attempted a quest, so think of an average party of adventurers risking their lives in pitched battle for a day or two and coming home with 5 frog carcasses. Along with the completion award, they would make 125,000 yen. In a 5-person party, each party member would come away with 25,000 yen. That was so not worth it. You'd be talking about a rate of 25,000 yen a day if the quest took only 1 day. That might sound like a pretty good deal to the average person, but remember we were putting our lives on the line here. If even one more toad had popped up today, for example, I might have been eaten too, and there would have been no one to help us. Party wipe. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up just thinking about it. I took a look at the other quests on the board. Cut down Aegil trees causing trouble in the woods. Reward by volume. Please help me find my lost pet, White Wolf, seeking swordsmanship tutor for my son. Note, only rune knights or swordmasters need apply. Do you want to be part of my magical experiments? Note, must have exceptional HP or strong magic defense. Phew. This world sure didn't make it easy for you. I'd been an adventurer for only 2 days, and I already wanted to return to Japan.
Pardon me, may I have a moment?
I was sitting in a chair nearby, nursing a bout of homesickness, when a soft voice came from behind me. I looked up with eyes deadened by the realities of this fantasy world. Sure, how can I help? And then I saw the owner of the voice and was at a loss for words. A female knight, and a drop-dead gorgeous one at that. She was looking at me expressionlessly. She gave off an almost palpable cool. She was just a little bit taller than I am. I'm 5'4", so she was maybe, say, 5'6". She wore sturdy-looking metal armor, and golden hair framed her blue eyes. I guessed she was a year or two older than me. Her armor hid just what type of body she had, but something about her was incredibly sexy. Despite her cool look, she gave off the impression of suffering. Somehow. Whoa, hang on. I can't go falling in love at first sight. Yes. What can I do for you? I could deal with someone younger than me, like Megumin, or someone who was, or at least looked, my age, like Aqua, but my voice cracked a little with nervousness as I talked to this obviously older woman. That's what I get for being a lifelong hikikomori.
Tell me, was it your party that posted this for a recruitment? Are you by any chance still recruiting?
The female knight held out a piece of paper. I'd forgotten we hadn't taken down the recruitment notice since adding Megumin. Oh, that. Yes, we're still looking for more members, but to be perfectly honest, I can't recommend it.
Please, oh please let me be in your party.
I'd been trying to put her off gently, but the knight suddenly grabbed my hand. Huh? Whoa, hold on. I should warn you, we have a lot of problems. Neither of the other members is even slightly capable, and I'm in the lowest class. In fact, just a little while ago, both my friends wound up covered in slime. Oh, ow. She'd squeezed my hand extra hard the moment I said covered in slime.
I knew those were your companions. I saw earlier with all that goop on them. How did they end up like that? Please let me get covered in...
What? What did she just say?
W8, let me try again. What I mean is, how could I, a knight, overlook two tender young women in such a state? How about it? I'm a crusader, an advanced class of knight. I believe that fits your requirements.
What was with this girl? She was giving me the crazy eye. She'd seemed so calm just a moment ago. A red flag went up in my mind. This girl had something in common with Aqua and Megumin. I hated to turn down a looker, but I had no choice. Well, I'm sorry, but as I said a moment ago, I really can't recommend this party. One of our members has yet to be of any use to anybody, and the other can cast only a single spell per day. And again, I'm the lowest possible class. We're one dysfunctional group, so I really recommend you look elsewhere. Her grip on my hand tightened further.
That's even better. The truth is, it's hard to say out loud, but I'm confident in my defensive abilities. I am, but I'm a bit of a klutz, and my attacks never hit, so...
Good old reliable intuition.
So I'm an advanced class, but it's not a big deal. I want you to send me right up front. Use me as a shield.
The female knight brought her face, with its graceful features, close to mine as I sat in my chair. Very close. Because I was seated, she stood above me, but she'd gotten so near that her long golden hair brushed my cheeks and set my heart pounding. Now I was really paying for that hikikomori life. No, I wasn't. This was just too much stimulation for an adolescent virgin, and it was throwing me off. Stay calm, don't get taken in by her wiles. Now, how could we use a woman as a shield? We really are an extremely weak party, ma'am, so I think you'd wind up as a monster's punching bag on every single quest.
Yes, that's perfect.
And no, it's not. Just today, my two companions were eaten by giant toads and ended up all slimy. Seriously, that's likely to happen every single day. Now I get it. The female knight gripping my hand and blushing. As I looked at her, it finally dawned on me. It wasn't just her abilities that wouldn't help us. Like the rest of my party, she was useless to the core. Chapter the 2nd of May, There Be Treasure, by which I mean panties, in this right hand. 1. Hey, I've been meaning to ask, how exactly do you acquire skills? It was the day after we'd fought the giant toads. We were having a late lunch at the Guild Tavern. In front of me, Megumin, who apparently had no money and had been unable to eat anything decent until she met us, was single-mindedly working her way through a combo meal. Aqua was getting a nearby waiter to bring her seconds. She sure had a fine appetite for a woman her age. You'd think a party of 2 girls and 1 guy would basically be a starter harem, but this wasn't hot at all.
How to learn skills. Why, from the place on your card that shows currently available skills. Of course. Oh, your class is Adventurer, is it not? Since that's a starter class, you have to have someone teach you new skills. Have them show you a skill, then guide you through it. Then it will appear on your card, and you can allocate points to it. Simple.
Okay. I was pretty sure the clerk at the guild said adventurers could learn any skill. Meaning if I got you to show me how to do it, Megumin, I could even learn explosion.
Yes, exactly.
Wow. She became inordinately excited by my offhanded question.
Yes, that is it exactly, Kazuma. It would take an outrageous number of points. True, but Adventurer is the only other class beside Archwizard that can learn Explosion. If you'd like to learn it, I will show it to you as many times as you want. After all, is there any other skill that is even worth learning? No, of course not. Now, Kazuma, join me on the explosive path.
Her face was so very, very close. See, calm down already. Jailbait. I only have 3 skill points anyway. Can I learn explosion with that?
Jailbait.
Megumin was too overcome to continue the conversation, so I turned to Aqua.
An adventurer who wanted to learn explosion wouldn't manage it with 10 or 20 points. If you worked at it for about 10 years, saving up every single skill point, you might be able to learn it.
Who would wait that long?
You say I am jailbait?
Megumin, seemingly in a state of shock at my turn of phrase, hung her head and returned to wolfing down her meal. Anyway, since the ability to learn any skill at all was one of the few advantages of my class, I might as well make the most of it. Hey, Aqua, you must know all kinds of useful skills, right? Teach me something easy, something that won't take too many points but will still be helpful. I'm looking for a good deal here. Aqua held her water glass thoughtfully and was quiet for a moment.
Well, all right. But just so you know, my skills are serious stuff. I don't go around teaching them to just anybody, got it?
There was Aqua, trying to make herself look important again, but since I needed her to teach me, I would just have to tolerate it. Nodding solemnly, I watched Aqua perform her skill.
First, look at this glass. It's full of water, right? You're gonna take it and balance it on top of your head so it doesn't fall off. Here, try it.
I managed to steady the glass on top of my head, all too aware of the stares of bystanders. Then Aqua produced a seed of some kind from who knew where and set it on top of the table.
Now use your finger to flick the seed up into the glass. If you get it, presto, the seed will absorb the water in the glass and...
Hey, who asked to learn party tricks? You useless goddess?
Wow!
She seemed excessively surprised by my reaction and joined Megumin in sitting dejectedly. She idly flicked the seed around the table. I didn't know what she was so upset about, but I wished she would take that stupid glass off her head. It was attracting attention.
Ha ha ha! You're a funny one. Hey, are you that party Darkness wants to get in on? You want to learn something useful? How about some thief skills?
That's when I saw the 2 women at the next table over. The one who'd called out was a youngish girl with silver hair, very attractive, wearing leather armor and a casual air. There was a small cut on her cheek. She seemed a bit cunning, but also open and cheerful. Beside her sat a lovely girl with long golden hair and a full set of plate mail. She seemed cool and aloof. And, wait, wasn't she the female knight who'd tried to join the party the day before? The thief looked to be a year or 2 younger than me. Thief skills? What kind of skills are those? The girl seemed pleased by my question.
I'm glad you asked. They're very useful for starters. You can detect and disarm traps. You can set an ambush or steal an item. There are even a bunch of great passive abilities. Your class is adventurer, right? Well, you don't even need many points to learn thief skills. It's a great deal. What do you say? I'll teach you some for the price of 1 crimson beer.
So cheap, and on reflection, I realized there was no risk in having this girl teach me something. If I wanted to learn more thief skills, I could always ask any of the thieves wandering around town. All right, it's a deal. Waiter, 1 crimson beer for the lady, please. 2.
Maybe I should start by introducing myself. I'm Chris. I'm a thief, as you can see. And this boar here is Darkness. I think you've already met. She's a crusader, so I don't know if she'll have that many skills you'd want to learn.
Great. My name's Kazuma. Nice to meet you, Chris. The 3 of us were all but alone in the square behind the Adventurers Guild. I'd left the other 2 to mope back at our table.
All right, maybe we should start with sense foe and ambush. We'll have to take a rain check on disarm trap, since there aren't many traps around town. Let's see, Darkness. Turn around for a second, would you? Huh? All right.
She turned her back as she'd been told. Chris hopped into a barrel a short distance away so that only her upper body was visible. Then she pitched a stone at Darkness's head and ducked down into the barrel. Was that supposed to be the ambush? Without a word, Darkness strode toward the only barrel in sight.
Sense foe. Sense foe. I can sense Darkness's rage approaching. Hey, Darkness. You know I'm only doing this to teach the guy some skills, right? Right? Be gentle. Stop it.
Chris shouted as Darkness turned the barrel on its side and sent it rolling away. Can I really learn anything this way?
Oh, okay. Then, how about you try my #1 recommendation, Steel? It snags a single item from the target. Doesn't matter if it's a sword they're clutching or a purse buried deep in their pack. 1 random item. The success rate depends on your luck stat. It can do some pretty great stuff. Maybe you're facing down a fearsome enemy, and you grab his weapon, or you nab some hidden treasure he's got, and then make a break for it.
Chris had collected her wits after her ride in the barrel, and she was filling me in on the finer points of the steel skill. It certainly did sound useful, and if it was really based on your luck, I finally had a chance to make use of my 1 good stat.
I'm gonna use it on you now. Okay, ready?
She held out her hand, shouted Steel, and suddenly she was holding a small object. It was my wallet. Hey! Not that there was much in it.
Ooh, score! That's how you use steel? Here's your wall. What?
Chris stopped as she was about to hand the wallet back to me, and a smile crept over her face.
Hey, how about a little contest? Learn steel right now. Then steal any 1 item from me. My purse, my weapon, it's all fair game. Whatever you get, it's gotta be worth more than this ratty thing.
She gave my wallet a shake.
So, I'll keep this wallet, and whatever you get from me, you keep it in exchange. What do you think? Want to give it a try?
She sure came up with some strange ideas, but I stopped and thought about it. I had high luck, and I could steal any 1 thing from her. In other words, even if the skill failed, I probably wouldn't walk away empty-handed. Why not give it a try? A bet like this seemed like the sort of thing only a couple of crazy adventurers could get up to. Anyway, I loved it. For the first time since I got to this world, I'd found something that made me feel like a real adventurer. When I checked my adventurer's card, I found a new field, available skills. When I touched it with my finger, 4 skills appeared. Sense fee, 1 point. Ambush, 1 point. Steal, 1 point. The Wonders of Nature, 5 points. The Wonders of Nature? Was that the seed in a glass party trick Aqua had shown me? That was some name for a parlor trick? Huh? It took more skill points than everything else combined. I admit I was intrigued by the party trick, but I took in the other skills on my card, Sense Foe, Ambush, and Steal. That used up my 3 skill points, so the evaluable points field now showed 0. So this was how you learned skills around here. All right, I've learned it. And you're on. No matter what I steal, no complaining, right? I stuck out my right hand. Strangely, Chris was smiling.
Good! I like a man who doesn't back down from a challenge. I wonder what you'll get. You might just recover your wallet. First prize is this enchanted dagger. It won't sell for less than 400,000 eris. And I even have a consolation prize. These rocks I picked up earlier to throw at darkness.
Hey, that's a dirty trick, I said, looking at the collection of pebbles in Chris's hand. I wondered why she seemed so confident. I guess carrying around a bunch of junk items was one way to thwart steal.
Call it your tuition fee. No skill is all-powerful. With a little imagination, you can come up with a counter to anything. Lesson learned? Now, go for it.
Damn it. Lesson learned, all right. Seeing Chris grin at me, I even felt like a bit of an idiot for letting her game me like that. This wasn't Japan. This was a world of survival of the fittest. It was my own fault for being gullible. Anyway, my odds might have been lower, but the contest wasn't over yet. All right, here I come. Luck's always been the only thing I've ever had on my side. Steal. As I shouted, I found myself grasping something tightly in my outstretched right hand. First try. Good luck really was my one gift. I opened my hand and took a close look at what I had snatched. The heck is this? It was a single piece of white cloth. I held it up to the light. Yahoo! This is even better than first prize.
No. Give me back my panties.
Chris shouted tearfully, holding down her skirt. 3. When I got back to the Guild Tavern after learning my new skills, I found it in an uproar. Milady Aqua, do it again. I'll pay. Show us the wonders of nature again. You idiot. Our dear Aqua doesn't want money. She wants food. Right, my dear? I'll treat you. So show us the wonders of nature again. For some reason, a crowd surrounded Aqua. She looked more than a little annoyed.
This is art! It's not something you can do just any old time someone asks. A great man once said, a good joke is only good once. I'm not some third-rate street player who do the same thing over and over just because it's a little popular. In fact, I'm not a performer at all, so I'm hardly interested in making money from my art. That's the very least someone can commit to when they seek to refine their skills. Anyway, the wonders of nature was never something I intended to show to you lot. And hey, Kazuma! You're finally back! You know, it's your fault this has happened. Say, what's with her?
Aqua had noticed the wet-eyed, sulky Chris who accompanied me as I pushed my way through the crowd. Darkness opened her mouth before I could explain.
Chris is upset because not only did Kazuma take her panties, but then he held them for ransom.
Hey, way to run your mouth. Hold on, wait. I mean, she's not wrong, but really, wait. Chris had wept that she would pay anything I asked if I would let her have her panties back, so I'd told her she should set the price for her own intimates. That was all. And then I'd added that if I didn't like the price she named, I would just keep the panties and take them back to become an heirloom of my house. She'd pulled out her wallet, along with the one she'd taken from me, and traded them for the underwear. Darkness made it sound so unseemly. I was starting to squirm under Aqua's and Megumin's gazes, taken in as they were by Darkness's telling, but then Chris raised her dejected face.
Well, I guess getting your underwear snatched in public is no reason to get in a mood. All right, Darkness. Sorry, but I'm gonna hit up a well-stocked dungeon I know and do some grinding. I did just use up all my money to get back my hostage panties.
Hey, hang on. Aqua and Megumin I am used to, but every female adventurer in the room is glaring at me now. Just wait. It looked like most of the women there had overheard our conversation.
Just a little revenge, eh? All right, I'm off to make some cash. So play nice, Darkness. Catch you all later.
With that, Chris made for the adventurer recruitment board. Aren't you going with her, Miss, Darkness? I asked. The knight still sat at our table like it was the most natural thing in the world.
No, I'm a frontline defender. We're an heiress a dozen. Thieves, though. You can't tackle a dungeon without one, but it's not a flashy job, so there aren't many. Everyone wants someone like Chris.
I see. Come to think of it, Aqua said, archpriests were in high demand, too. I guess your occupation could get you more than I'd realized. A few minutes later, we saw Chris walk out the door of the guild with several other adventurers in a party she'd found. She gave us a jaunty wave as she left. They're going to a dungeon now, even though it's almost dark.
First thing in the morning is the best time to tackle a dungeon. So it is quite common for people to go to a dungeon the night before and camp out at the entrance. There are even some merchants who set up shop outside dungeons specifically to cater to adventurers who are camped there. So, how did it go, Kazuma? Did you learn a new skill?
A shameless smile grew on my face at hearing Megumin's question. Haha, how about I show you? Here I go. Steal! I shouted, and thrust my right hand toward Megumin. In a flash, I was holding a piece of white cloth. Yup, panties again.
I do not understand. Did your stats go up enough for you to change jobs from adventurer to pervert?
She paused.
It's rather chilly, so could you please return my panties?
What? That's weird. It's supposed to take something random. I hurriedly returned the panties to Megumin, and as the looks of the women nearby went from chilly to freezing, I heard someone pound the table with a slam. It was Darkness, rising from her chair. For some reason, her eyes were ablaze.
I knew it. I knew. I had judged correctly. You beast, stealing the panties of such a young girl right out in public. I absolutely must be part of this party.
Nope.
Oh,
At my answer, Darkness turned red and began to shake. What was I supposed to do? I wasn't sure how, but I could tell this female knight was not the useful type. So of course, Aqua and Megumin were immediately interested in her.
Hey, Kazuma, who's this? Is this that girl you said you interviewed while Megumin and I were at the bathhouse yesterday? Wait, is she not a crusader? Why should you wish to refuse such a powerful ally?
With one eye on Darkness, they each offered their altogether unsolicited opinions. Damn it, and here I'd worked so hard to put her off yesterday. I so didn't want her to meet these two. All right, let's try this. Listen, Darkness. Aqua and I may not look like much, but we have a job to do. We need to defeat the Demon King. Aqua, of course, wanted to get back to the Divine Realm, but for my part, having been confronted by the reality of a world in which we could barely handle an overgrown frog, let alone a demonic sovereign, I was no longer feeling very enthusiastic about that task. I paid no attention to Megumin, who sat next to us pretending to studiously ignore our conversation. Wait, actually, this might be the perfect moment. This goes for you too, Megumin. Aqua and I want to defeat the Demon King at any cost. That's why we became adventurers. And because of that, things are likely to get pretty rough for us. Especially for you, Darkness. You're a lady knight. Do you know what the Demon King would do to you if he captured you?
I know exactly what you're talking about. From time immemorial, it has been the role of the Lady Knight to be the erotic plaything of the Demon King. Just that alone is enough to make me join you.
Huh? Say what? Her eagerness brought me up short.
Huh? What about what? Did I say something strange?
All right, let's leave that one for now. I turned to Megumin. Megumin, look, we're up against the Demon King here. Aqua and I are taking the fight to the most powerful creature in this world. You don't have to force yourself to stick with such a crazy bunch of... Megumin suddenly stood up. Her mantle fluttered out.
My name is Megumin, first among the spellcasters of the Crimson Magic Clan, and wielder of Explosion. Is the Demon King known as the strongest in this world? Then I shall topple him with the strongest magic in this world.
We were getting odd looks from around the hall as Megumin her proud and thoroughly tweeny declaration. Useless. Don't give me that self-satisfied smirk you. What was I gonna do? The two problem children I most wanted out of my party were the ones most eager to be in it.
Hey, Kazuma!
As I sat there stewing, Aqua tugged on my sleeve.
After hearing all that stuff you were just saying, I'm not so sure about this anymore. Isn't there an easier way to beat the Demon King?
You better get on board. Aren't you the one who needs to defeat him most of all? At that moment, urgent quest. Urgent quest! All adventurers currently in town, please report immediately to the guild hall. Repeat, all adventurers, please report immediately to the guild hall. The announcement boomed through the streets. Maybe they were amplifying it with magic. Hey, what do they mean, an urgent quest? Is a monster attacking the town or something? I was pretty concerned. Darkness and Megaman, on the other hand, looked thrilled.
It's probably about the cabbage harvest. It's almost the season.
I was silent for a long moment. Huh? Cabbage? Is that the name of a monster? I said dumbly. Megaman and Darkness both gave me a strange look of pity.
Cabbages are green and round. You eat them. They're a crunchy, delicious vegetable.
I know what a cabbage is. So, what? They're putting out an urgent quest so we can all go and do farm work. Granted, I'd been in construction myself until just a little while ago, but I didn't come here for agriculture.
Oh, Kazuma, I guess you might not know, but the cabbages around here.
Aqua was hesitantly trying to tell me something, but the desk clerk cut her off with a loud announcement to the adventurers in the hall. Everyone, please pardon our sudden call. Some of you have figured this out already, but it's cabbage season. The time for this year's harvest has come. The cabbages are quite full this year, so we will be paying 10,000 eris a head. We have already instructed the townspeople to evacuate their homes. Please catch as many cabbages as you're able and bring them back here. Please take care so their counterattacks don't hurt you. Finally, because of the large number of people involved, we will pay out the reward at a later date. Wait, what did she just say? I followed the crowd to see what was going on and saw a bunch of round green objects floating nonchalantly around the streets. As I stood there trying to take it in, Aqua appeared beside me and said solemnly,
Cabbages here can fly. They get more flavorful as the harvest approaches, but they don't have any intention of ending up on the menu without a fight. They make a run for it through the towns and fields and head out to sea. It's said they cross the ocean and spend their days quietly in a place no one knows where they can live out their lives without being eaten. But if we can catch even one, we'll get an awfully good meal out of it.
I wonder if I could just go back to the stable and hit the hay. I muttered dimly. Next to me, a couple of adventurers braver than I were joining the chase with a shout. Their manly fervor seemed to be stoked by the cabbage's own desire to survive. As the adventurers threw themselves into combat with the vegetables, I had only one thought in mind. How sad is it that I have to fight to the death with some leafy greens? I want to go back to Japan. 4. I tried a bite of the stir-fried cabbage they were serving up at the guild. I don't get it. How in the world can a regular cabbage stir-fry be this good? It makes no sense. The harvest was safely over, and all around town, people were trying out different recipes using the stuff. In the end, I'd forced myself to be part of the cabbage hunt because the money was good, but I felt a twinge of regret. I didn't come all the way to a fantasy world to fight with a bunch of vegetables.
Way to go, Darkness. You really are a crusader. Those vegetables didn't stand a chance against your iron defense.
Oh, no, I'm just tough. I'm clumsy and not very quick, so I can hardly hit anything with a sword. Acting as a human wall to protect my party is my only real talent.
She paused.
That's why Megamine impressed me so much. She's the one who brought down in one magnificent explosion all those monsters who'd followed the cabbages into town. You sure took all the adventurers there by surprise.
Yeah, none can stand against my explosion spell.
Megumi took a breath.
Really, though, Kazuma was remarkable. After I'd collapsed from my spell, he rushed out, collected me, and brought me back.
True. When I was surrounded by monsters and cabbages all making me their punching bag, it was Kazuma who appeared and harvested the vegetables.
You saved me, Kazuma. I thank you. I saw him hide with his ambush skill, track their movements with sense fall, and finally hit them from behind with a powerful steel attack. It was like watching a master assassin at work.
Finally, there was a clink as Aqua set down a plateful of the conquered cabbage. The useless goddess had spent the entire harvest running this way and that by herself, just going after whatever cabbage was nearest, accomplishing nothing. Now she wiped her lips daintily.
Kazuma, by my name, I hereby give you the title Beautiful Cabbage Thief.
That's ridiculous. If anyone ever calls me that, I'll pop 'em right in the mouth. Arr, how did things come to this? I leaned on the table with my head in my hands. This was an emergency.
Anyway, my name is Darkness. My class is Crusader. I carry a two-handed sword, but please do not expect too much from me in battle. I'm so clumsy my attacks rarely land. But I'm very good at being a human shield. I look forward to adventuring with you all.
That's right, I had another new party member.
Hee hee. Our group is starting to look pretty impressive, huh? There's me, the Archpriest, Megamin, the Archwizard, and Darkness, a Crusader who specializes in frontline defense. How many parties are there where 3 out of the 4 members are from advanced classes, huh? Kazuma, you are so lucky. You ought to be grateful.
Sure. Lucky. I've got a spellcaster who can use only 1 spell per day, a frontline fighter whose attacks never hit, and the world's dumbest, unluckiest archpriest, who, by the way, still hasn't done a single useful thing. Aqua and Megamine had really hit it off with Darkness during the cabbage hunt, and all of a sudden they'd invited her to be in our party. Normally I'd have no reason to refuse. I mean, she was gorgeous. But Darkness, when she said her attacks never land, she meant it. Like never. She really is gorgeous, though. Because she put every one of her skill points into defensive abilities, she'd never learned things like two-handed sword. In other words, the offensive skills that give you basic competency in the use of a weapon. What a waste for a girl who was so cool and so hot at the same time. This Crusader of ours also had a weird habit of jumping right into the middle of a horde of monsters. I appreciated that a Crusader whose whole duty was to protect the weak would want more than anyone to leap into the fray and help others, but
Oh, when those cabbages and monsters were beating me up, I could hardly stand it. It looks like I'm the only frontline defense this party has, so don't hesitate to offer me up as a hostage or use me as a human shield. If you decide you must sacrifice me to an awful fate to save yourselves from danger, please feel free to do so. Just imagining it has me shaken with excitement.
her cheeks had turned a pale red and she was shivering a little. Wait, I get it. She's just a garden variety masochist. Now when I looked at her, I didn't see a hot girl, just a sexual deviant.
So, Kazuma, I'm sure I will, be an albatross around this party's neck at times. So when I am, please punish me mercilessly for it. I look forward to working with you.
An archpriest who knew every healing spell, an archwizard who could use the world's strongest magic, and a crusader with an impenetrable defense. It sounded perfect on paper, and yet right now, the only feeling I had about the future was a bad one. 5. My adventurer level rose to 6. In other words, I went up 2 levels after the cabbage hunt. I hadn't even defeated them, just captured them. So why did my level go up? For that matter, why in the world were cabbages worth so much XP? There were so many questions, but thinking about them made my head hurt, so I decided to just let them go. You couldn't let the ifs and ands of this world overwhelm you. Cabbages were worth 10,000 eris a head. This was apparently because you could gain XP by eating them fresh, meaning adventurers with enough cash could grow stronger by just having a meal. With my new levels came more skill points. Trying to figure out why you got skill points when you leveled. Something ripped straight out of a role-playing game. Would probably have me losing sleep over it, so I didn't bother. Like I said, you just couldn't let it get to you. When I'd leveled up, I'd received 2 skill points. A magic user and a warrior from another party I met during the cabbage hunt had taught me one-handed sword and basic magic. Each cost me 1 point. The one-handed sword skill, obviously, allowed you to bully wield a one-handed sword. With that, I gained an average ability to use a weapon. I was now out of skill points again, but I wanted to learn magic even more than how to use a sword. Who could possibly come to a world that had magic and not want to try it out? Basic magic allowed you to use simple spells related to the 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air. Incidentally, these basics weren't powerful enough to kill or even hurt anything. Most casters skipped basic magic entirely, saved up their points, and jumped right to mid-level magic. Intermediate magic cost 10 skill points. My magic stat wasn't very high, so at that price, maybe I should just give up on learning offensive spells. I'd heard some people began with a certain number of skill points based on natural talent. These prodigies weren't as rare as you'd think, and they could start out with 10 or even 20 points, taking an advanced class immediately. Megumin and Darkness, for example, must have been pretty well received when they started out. Aqua didn't count, while I, at level 1, had 0 skill points. Not gonna think about it too hard. I'll just get depressed. The more skills I learned, the more like a real adventurer I became. All that was left was the outfit. Sometimes I change into clothes that I'd bought in this world, but for the most part it was just me, my tracksuit, and a short sword. I really needed some armor, even just a bit of leather. And so,
Why do I have to come along on your dumb shopping trip?
Aqua complained loudly as we walked into the armor shop. Because you need some equipment too. I may be wearing a tracksuit, but what have you got? A flimsy little feather dress? Aqua, like me, was still wearing the same thing she'd had on when we got to this world. Every night after changing into her pajamas, she washed it in a bucket from the inn. Splash, splash, splash. Then put it out to dry in the same place where they dried the horse's hay.
Dummy! You seem to be forgetting that I'm a goddess. This feather dress is holy. It's a unique item imbued with all kinds of magical properties. Status conditions don't affect it, and it's got exceptional durability. Lots of good stuff. There's no equipment better.
I considered suggesting she not hang her holy divine super item out with the horse feed. Hey, sounds good. If we're ever strapped for cash, we can sell that thing. Ooh, this chest plate is made of leather, but it looks like a good start.
Hey, you were just joking, right? This cloak is pretty much the only proof that I'm a goddess. You'd never really sell it, right? Right?
6.
Oh ho. It seems clothes really do make the man.
Indeed, Kazuma at last looks the part of an adventurer.
In the guild hall, which had become our unofficial meeting spot, Darkness and Megumin admired my new outfit. I sort of wanted to ask what exactly they thought I'd looked like before. Just some creeper? No, I looked like I belonged here. I had a leather chest plate, metal gauntlets, and metal greaves. Aqua had said that my tracksuit alone killed the immersion around here, so the day before, I bought several sets of appropriate clothes. I'd been told that magical skills usually required a free hand, and since I had gone out of my way to learn some magic, I decided not to carry a shield. I had just the blade at my hip, in a style I like to think of as a sort of magical swordsman. I'd used up most of the money I'd made off my little steel contest with Chris, but there was enough left over from that to put food on the table for another week or two. And, hey, I had some armor, I'd learned some skills, I wanted to go on a quest. When I told everyone about it, Darkness firmly nodded.
It's mating season for the giant toads, and many of them are near town. We could... No more toads. No more toads. Why not? They're easy to stab with a bladed weapon, which makes them easy to kill. Their only attack is to try to grab you with their tongue. You can sell the carcass as a consumable, so you can make good money on them. You might get eaten if you're wearing only thin armor, but they hate metal, so I assume Kazuma wouldn't be targeted the way he's dressed now. As for you two, Aqua and Megumin, I'll act as a shield for you.
Oh, these two were traumatized when toads ate them a while ago. They wound up covered in slime from head to toe. It's all right, let's find something else. For some reason, Darkness' cheeks had gone a light red at my words. Don't tell me that thought excites you.
It does not.
She looked away bashfully, but I had a bad feeling. She wasn't going to disappear on a one-woman frog chase the minute I took my eyes off her, was she? Not counting that urgent cabbage hunt, this will be the first quest for the four of us together. It'd be nice if we could just take it easy. Megumin and Darkness went over to the board to see if there were any simple quests posted.
What can you expect from a hick-and-eat introvert? Kazuma, you're in the weakest class, so I can see why you'd want to be cautious. But think about the rest of us. You've got a party full of advanced adventurers. Why not take on some tougher quests, make some real money, raise our levels, and then it's goodbye, Demon King Lei. What I mean is, let's pick the most difficult mission we can find.
I was silent for a long moment. Then I said, I hate to tell you this, but you have yet to be any help at all. Aqua seemed aghast at my words, but I paid her no mind. I went on. I'm pretty sure I was supposed to get some super powerful item or ability from you so I wouldn't have any trouble here. And look, I'm the last person to complain when the gods themselves give me free swag. But didn't I pick you over all the other stuff I could have had? And now that we've come this far, I have to ask, have you done anything for me? Anything that's better than whatever legendary loot or killer special ability I would have gotten. How about it? Back when we got here, you were sure you were all that, but you still haven't proved it, you self-proclaimed former you-know-what.
Sniff, I'm not a former, I'm still a goddess.
Aqua said despondently. Goddess? You? A goddess would give guidance to her hero. She'd fight the Demon King herself, seal him away until the hero was ready. And what did you do on our cabbage hunt? Sure, you somehow wound up with a bunch of them, but all I saw was you crying while flying vegetables chased you around. What kind of deity gets bullied by something that goes in stew? The only thing you know how to do is get eaten by frogs. Your only abilities are stupid party tricks. And you call yourself a goddess?
Wow.
I felt a bit satisfied seeing Aqua collapsed over the table, weeping. I'd gotten my revenge on her for making fun of me. But Aqua, it seemed, wasn't ready to let it drop. She looked up from the table and said,
I can do lots of useful things. I know healing magic and healing magic and healing magic. So what about it, you Hiniot? How long do you think it'll take to defeat the Demon King at this rate, huh? If you've got ideas, I'd love to hear them.
She thinks she's clever. Aqua glared at me through teary eyes. I sneered at her. I cut class every day of high school to stay home and work on my pro gaming career. You really think I don't have any idea how to handle this?
You were a pro gamer?
No, I just wanted to say it. Listen, Aqua, I don't have amazing powers like the usual protagonists of these stories, but I do have the things I learned in Japan. So I was thinking, what if I made simple Japanese goods, something traditional they don't have here, and sell them? I've got good luck, right? Even the girl who registered us said I should go into trading. It got me thinking, maybe adventuring isn't the only way to make money around here. We can take other routes too. As long as we've got some cash, it won't be hard to get XP. We can buy cabbage or whatever else gives you XP. Just by eating it, and get stronger that way. True, the other Japanese here knew the same things I did, but unlike me, they'd taken the special powers as they were supposed to. They wouldn't think to do something so menial as selling handmade goods. They'd be too focused on their quests. Basically, the ROI from adventuring for me wasn't very good. I'd only been on a frog hunt and cabbage hunt so far, but looking at the quest board, nothing seemed to offer a reward proportionate to its dangers. Life was just too cheap here. Sure, I periodically brought up the Demon King in front of Aqua for her benefit, but to tell you the truth, I wasn't thinking seriously about defeating him. Which meant instead, I had to figure out how to live in this world with the least fuss and the most comfort. Anyway, you get thinking too. Think of something easy we can sell. And teach me that recovery magic of yours already. I want to be able to heal when I have enough skill points.
No! Not my healing magic. I'll lose my reason for existing. You don't need to learn those spells. You have me. No.
She flopped on the table and began weeping about me taking away the one thing that gave her existence any value. That was how Megaman and Darkness found us when they came back.
What have you been up to? You can be rather cruel, Kazuma. You could probably make any girl cry if you told her how you really feel. If you need to let off some stress, why not leave Aqua alone and insult me instead?
She paused.
After all, it is a crusader's duty to stand in harm's way for others.
Both of them looked at Aqua, who was still crying. She seemed to realize everyone was staring at her and buried her face in her arms, peering out periodically from between her limbs to glare at me. It was kind of annoying. Look, just ignore her. But Darkness. I glanced at her. I didn't know you were so svelte under all that armor. Darkness was wearing only a black tank top, a tight black skirt, and leather boots. She still wore the great sword across her back, making her look less like a knight than a simple warrior. Apparently her armor was in the shop, having been damaged when she took that beating from the cabbages. I found myself unexpectedly speaking more gently to the unprotected Darkness. She was firm, where a woman ought to be firm, and had a very shapely form. Frankly, she was turning me on. Standing next to Megumin only highlighted how developed Darkness was. I started to think that for a face that lovely and a body so smoking, I could maybe overlook some personal quirks.
Oh, did you just say How dare this pig have such a hot body?
No, I didn't. I glanced at Megumin and Aqua. You know what? I take it back. It doesn't matter how hot she is. Personality trumps all.
Hey, explain the meaning of that glance you just gave me.
There's no meaning. I was just thinking, thank God I'm not into jailbait, is all.
Start a fight with someone of the Crimson Magic Clan, and she will always finish it.
Megumin said, tugging on my sleeve.
Let us step outside and... Anyway, if we're going to do a quest, how about one that will help Aqua gain some levels?
What do you mean? Is anyone offering one that convenient? And Aqua had learned pretty much every skill there was for her to learn with her starting points. Anyway, so I didn't think she needed to be too worried about leveling up.
As a rule, it's hard for priests to level up, since they lack real offensive capabilities. They can't run out and just kill something like a warrior can or rush in with a blast of magic like a wizard. So priests prefer to hunt the undead. They're immortal monsters that have turned against the laws of the gods. The power of the divine has an opposite effect on the undead. Hit them with healing magic, and it actually destroys them.
Now that I thought about it, that sounded familiar. It was pretty similar in most video games. Recovery magic works as an attack against undead enemies. I don't know though. Would a few levels even help this useless goddess? Then I had a flash of inspiration. When my level went up, so did my stats. Would it be the same for Aqua? She was still slumped over the table, crying crocodile tears and peeking at us every once in a while to see if we were paying attention. If this idiot's level went up, would her intelligence stat rise a little bit too? That would be the most efficient way to make her more useful in battle. Hey, that's not a bad idea. But Darkness, your armor isn't back from the shop yet.
Not a problem for me. I didn't specialize in defensive skills for nothing. Even without armor, I'm tougher than an Adamam Wise. Plus, I prefer the feeling of being hit without any protection.
Did you just say you enjoy being hit?
No,
Yes, you did.
did not.
Silence. So, Aqua, want to try it? She looked at our archpriest, whose face was still hidden in her arms. Hey, don't just sit there blubbering, say something. We're talking about your level, here. I reached out and was about to smack her on the shoulder, but that's when I noticed she'd tired herself out from crying and fallen asleep. Was she a goddess or a toddler? 7. We were on a hill outside town. It was a communal cemetery for those who died poor or without anyone to bury them. Interment was the custom here. No coffin, just straight in the ground. Our quest was to deal with the undead monsters that were plaguing the graveyard. It was almost dusk. We'd pitched camp nearby and were waiting for dark.
Hey, Kazuma. I had dibs on that meat. We've got some perfectly good grilled vegetables right here. Eat some.
That cabbage hunt kind of killed my interest in vegetables. I'm always afraid they're going to fly away or jump out of the fire while I'm trying to cook them. We'd set up a small grill off the cemetery grounds and were making dinner while we waited. It might seem like a lax thing to do when we were ostensibly hunting monsters, but this time our mission was on a low-level creature called a zombie maker. They were a kind of evil spirit that controlled zombies. The zombie maker commandeered the best corpse and had several undead lieutenants. We took the quest because we'd heard even novice parties could take on zombie makers. Maybe it would be less risky for the unarmored Darkness as well. My stomach pleasantly full, I took some powdered coffee and dumped it into a mug. I used a simple magic spell called Create Water to fill it up, then another called Kindle to start a fire to heat it. These were functions of the basic magic I'd learned from a wizard at the cabbage hunt. Kindle, as the name implied, was used to start fires. You couldn't hurt anyone with it, but it was sure more convenient than a lighter. Megumin held out her empty mug with a perplexed look.
Could I have some water too, please? I am surprised though, Kazuma. You know even more spells than I do. Most people skip over basic magic, but you make it look rather useful.
I chanted Create Water over Megumin's cup. I thought that was what basic magic was for. Oh yeah. Create Earth, what's this one do? I held out my palm, which was full of fine soil. Basic magic encompassed spells relating to all 4 elements, but only the Earth spell left me without any idea what to do with it.
Oh, Oh, I have heard it is especially rich soil in which to grow things. That is all. Growing things, huh? How about it, sir? Kazuma, planning to switch jobs to a farmer? You can make your own fields and do your own irrigation. Why, you were practically born for it. 50 hee hee hee.
I pointed my soil-filled right hand at Aqua and made a gesture with my left. Wind breath.
Iya, Jiga, my eyes,
A gust of wind blew the dirt straight into Aqua's face. The goddess and her sand-filled eyes writhed on the ground. Huh, so that's how you use it.
No, it isn't. That is not how you are supposed to use it. How come you are better at beginner magic than an actual wizard, anyway?
8.
I feel a chill. Kazuma, didn't the quest say we were looking for a zombie maker? I don't think it's that simple. I have a feeling a much worse kind of undead is waiting for us.
Aqua said quaveringly. The moon had risen. It was late in the night. Hey, don't say that. You'll jinx us. We're here to take out one zombie maker. Then we rebury the zombies, head back to the stable, and go to sleep. And if anything weird happens and things don't go according to plan, we'll skip right to going home. Okay? Everyone nodded. It was almost time. We began to walk toward the graveyard, with me on point using the sense-fo skill I'd learned from Chris. Aqua's words bothered me, but not too much. She was always spouting pointless nonsense, after all. Well, almost always. Huh. I feel kind of a tingle. Sense-fo is working. There's 1, 2, 3? Huh? That was too many. Granted, we'd heard a zombie maker could have 2 or 3 zombie underlings. This was within the margin of error. Just as I was thinking that, a bluish-white light shone in the middle of the cemetery. What was that? The light was weirdly, wondrously blue. It seemed oddly far off, and it looked like a magic circle. And standing next to the circle was a black-robed figure.
Odd. I do not believe that is a zombie maker. Us!
Megumin whispered uncertainly. Several human forms milled about near the robed person.
Do we go in? It may not be a zombie maker, but anyone in a graveyard at this time of night is an undead for sure. So as long as we've got our archpriest with us, we'll be fine.
Darkness was fidgeting, holding her great sword against her chest. Calm down already, you. Then Aqua seemed to lose it.
Ah!
She screamed suddenly, and then, before I could figure out what she was thinking, she leaped up and dashed toward the robed figure. What? Hey, wait! She didn't seem to hear me. Instead, as she neared the mysterious character, she pointed a finger at it accusingly.
How dare a lich show her face here so nonchalantly? You'll pay for this.
A lich? That was a serious undead monster, up on top of the pecking order with vampires and the like. They were known as no-life kings, mages who'd mastered the very limits of magic and then abandoned their natural bodies through arcane rituals. Unlike the average undead, who got that way because of an enduring grudge or powerful attachment to this world, liches were unhallowed beings who deliberately twisted the laws of nature. Basically, you might expect to see them as a final boss, and here we were looking right at one.
Stop it! Who are you, Ma? And why are you trying to break my magic circle? Stop it! Please stop.
Shut your undead mouth. You're up to no good with this circle, I'm sure. Spit it out. Confess.
Our enemy, the fearsome foe, the final boss, was clinging tearfully to Aqua's legs, trying to keep her from stomping all over the magic circle. The undead that the lich was controlling did nothing to intervene, just stared blankly at the two of them. So, what now? I guess we didn't have a zombie maker on our hands at any rate. Aqua kept shouting about a lich, but the supposedly powerful monster looked more like a girl getting bullied by some punk.
Stop it. Stop, please. This circle helps lost souls find their way to heaven. Look, you see all those souls ascending from the circle, right?
It was true. Bluish-white human-like figures were appearing from out of nowhere, entering the circle and floating up to the sky in the bluish light.
You put on a pretty good nice girl act, Lich. But how about you sit back and let an archpriest handle the good guy stuff? Why bother with a silly magic ring when I can take care of this whole cemetery at once?
What? Wait. Stop.
The lich grew ever more panicked at Aqua's pronouncement. Aqua ignored her. She spread her arms wide and cried.
Turn undead.
A white light spread out from Aqua and engulfed the entire graveyard. No sooner had the light touched the lich's zombies than they vanished. When it reached the human souls who had gathered in the circle, they too disappeared. And then the light reached the lich.
Yeah. I'm vanishing. Stop. Please stop. I'm going to disappear. I'm not ready to move on yet.
Ah, ha, ha! Foolish Lek! Defier of the laws of nature! Undead abomination, turning your back on the will of the gods! Soon I'll erase you without a trace.
Hey, leave her alone already. I gave Aqua a bop on the back of the head with my sword hilt.
Huh? Oh, ow! What's the big idea?
The knock on the head must have broken her concentration, because the white light vanished. Aqua turned on me with her hand to her head and tears in her eyes. When Darkness and Megumin joined us, I was ignoring Aqua's attempts to strangle me, and instead talking to the lich, who sat shaking on the ground. Hey, are you all right? Lich? Can I call you Lich? I could see that her legs were semi-transparent, having started to disappear. They slowly returned to normal, and she unsteadily stood up.
I am all right. That was a close one. Thank you for saving me. You're right. I'm a lich. My name is Wiz.
As she spoke, she drew back her hood. The moonlight illuminated a face that looked like a normal human's, albeit someone barely 20 years old. Brown hair framed her face. In fact, she was quite lovely. Somehow I'd imagined a lich would look like a skeleton or something. Wiz's robes were all black, the very picture of an evil mage. Wait, did she still count as an evil mage if she was also a lich? Wiz, what exactly are you doing here? I mean, in a graveyard in the middle of the night? You said something about sending souls to heaven. Aqua might have been a little hasty, but I agree that doesn't sound like something a lich would do.
Be careful! Kazuma! If you talk to this rotten apple, you'll become undead too. Let me cast Turn Undead on her.
Aqua angrily jumped to her feet and made to cast a spell on Wiz. Wiz ducked behind my back, looking both frightened and dismayed, before saying,
Why, yes, I am a lich, as you can see, a no-life king. Because I'm a ruler among the undead, I can hear the cries of wandering souls. This is a communal graveyard. Most of the people here were too poor to receive a proper burial. Now they drift among the graves every night, unable to reach heaven. Since they are under my authority, I come here regularly to help all the little ones who wish to ascend to heaven.
Gosh, this really pulls on my heartstrings. She was actually a good person. Other than some shopkeepers, maybe the first really decent person I'd met since getting here. I mean, I guess she wasn't a person in the strictest sense. That's really admirable, but isn't that something you should leave for the town's priests to take care of? Well, Aqua aside. Wiz glanced uncomfortably at Aqua's frustrated expression before replying.
Well, you see, the priests in this town, they really care only about money. The poor go forgotten.
No wonder she looked uncomfortable with an archpriest, Aqua, at that, standing right there. Followers of the almighty heirs, eh? I guess they wouldn't be caught dead holding services in a graveyard for the poor, if you'll excuse the expression. Everyone looked at Aqua in silence, who awkwardly avoided our collective gaze. Well, no changing that, I guess. But do you think you could stop summoning all these zombies? We came here thinking we were on the trail of a zombie maker, you know? Wiz seemed uneasy at my words.
Oh, I see. But I don't exactly summon them. When I come here, the spirits who still have bodies simply react to my magical power and come out on their own. If I knew someone was helping the lost souls, though, I wouldn't need to keep coming here.
A long pause. Oh, isn't there something we can do? 9, we were on our way home from the cemetery.
I cannot accept this.
Aqua was still angry. The sky was already brightening. Sorry, she was so sweet. How could you want to destroy her? We decided to let the lich go. And we agreed that Aqua, who had plenty of time on her hands anyway, would go to the graveyard every so often to help along its wandering spirits. Aqua might have been a pretty rotten goddess, but even she seemed to understand that helping lost souls and the undead was her duty, even if she complained about not being able to sleep in anymore. Darkness and Megumin, who'd at first resisted the idea of letting a monster off the hook, relented when they learned that Wiz had never actually attacked anyone. I looked at the piece of paper Wiz had given me and muttered, "A lich just makes her home in this town and nobody minds? Some security." The piece of paper gave her address. It turned out she was living in Axel, just like we were. In fact, she was running a little shop that specialized in magic items. When I said I'd always pictured liches living in the deepest depths of some dungeon, she replied that dungeons were awfully inconvenient and there was no reason to go out of your way to live in one. I got what she was saying. Liches were human once too. But even though I got it, this place had sure upended most of my assumptions about fantasy worlds. It was nothing like what my games had led me to believe.